the reason you're still struggling to balance your hormones has nothing to do with what you're trying and everything to do with what you're thinking. Here's the thing. Our brains, well, they're wired to keep us safe. You know, safe as in stuck in the same place, snapping at our kids for breathing too loud. So even when our house is on hormonal fire, our thoughts can convince us it's not that bad, or that change is just too risky. But that kind of thinking could be the very reason why you're still struggling. In today's episode, I'm peeling back the curtain on the top 4 limiting beliefs that could be holding you back from balancing your hormones. So grab a quick potty break and mute that tiny voice that says you should be doing laundry instead, and I'll be back to break it all down in less than 90 seconds. Welcome to Are You There Midlife? It's me, Monica. Hi, I'm Monica Topetti, wife, mom, health coach, and hormone imbalance survivor. And I'm on a mission to help women in midlife balance hormones naturally without drugs, doctors, or divorce. Are you tired of dealing with heavy, painful periods that look like a crime scene? Are you sick of struggling with anxiety, fatigue, or brain fog that... What was I just saying? Are you frustrated doing all the things to lose weight but still packing on pounds faster than a real housewife changes Birkins? Girl, you are in the right place. Join me each week as I spill the tea on what to expect in perimenopause and beyond. From IBS to insomnia, bloating to funky body odor, I'll unpack all the weird stuff happening inside our midlife bodies, plus give you the latest science and holistic solutions to manage it all. So ditch the Spanx and hop on board the Hot Mess Express. Let's do this. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the show. Okay, so here's something wild. Researchers estimate that up to 95% of our decisions happen unconsciously. That means our brain, yes, that same brain that forgot where you put the car keys this morning, is quietly running the show behind the scenes. Most of the time, it's just trying to protect us from discomfort, from disappointment, from change. But in doing that, it can also be holding us back, keeping us stuck in a cycle of hormonal chaos that feels impossible to break through. And since our thoughts drive our actions, even when we don't realize it, they can actually be preventing us from taking the next step that could change everything. So let's jump into the first limiting belief that could be holding you back from balancing your hormones, which is maybe this is just midlife. Let's be clear. Hormonal shifts, normal. Feeling like a stranger in your own body, not. Midlife does not have to mean mood swings that blindside you, falling asleep at your desk at 3 p.m., buying a whole new wardrobe because nothing fits. That's actually our hormones drawing a line in the sand. But despite the warning alarms going off in our bodies, we've accepted this idea that we're supposed to feel tired, moody, uncomfortable in our clothes, like it's some rite of passage or an unavoidable side effect of getting older. So we start normalizing the discomfort, the exhaustion, the dysfunction. We look around and think, well, everyone's dealing with something. And it's true. I know probably every single woman I know is somehow struggling with her hormones. One of my girlfriends keeps an extra camisole in her car because her hot flashes leave her soaked by the time she gets to work. Another one recently confessed to me that she loses her temper with her kids over nothing and then goes into the bathroom and cries. And another one hasn't worn pants without an elastic waistband in 6 months because she says she's bloated even when she's eating healthy or being good, as she puts it. So yeah, a lot of us are struggling, but that doesn't make it okay or normal. It just means that somehow we've been gaslit into believing hormonal chaos is the tax to be paid for turning 45 or 40 or 38 or 56, wherever you're at. Here's a stat that really puts this into perspective. Are you ready? So a recent survey found that more than 70% of midlife women experience hormone-related symptoms that negatively impact their quality of life. 70%. And yet, less than 15% have ever had a doctor connect those symptoms back to their hormones. Because we're not screened, we're not tested, and we've been somehow convinced that this is just our new normal. But this isn't just midlife. It's our midlife wake-up call. Which leads us to limiting belief number 2. I should be able to figure this out on my own. Sure, you could spend months or years, ouch, trying to piece this thing together yourself. You could Google your symptoms, binge wellness podcasts, wink, wink, follow 12 different hormone experts on Instagram, and try to reverse engineer all the advice you get into something that maybe, hopefully, kind of applies to your body. But what's that time worth? Time not feeling like you. Time dragging yourself through the day in a body that no longer feels like home. Time missing out with your partner, your kids, your friends, because you're exhausted, irritable, or just mentally checked out. I get it. I really get it. You're the one in your family, your friend group, or your workplace who always figures it out. You're the researcher, the fixer, and the one who makes it work when chaos is all around you. There's no easy answer, and everyone is counting on you. But balancing your hormones isn't another thing just to add to your overloaded to-do list. Because unlike your glitchy cordless vac or your hair wand, your body doesn't come with a user manual. And no one taught you how to decode its error messages. Look, we weren't raised with hormone education. We barely got sex education. We didn't grow up learning about blood sugar and cortisol and estrogen and circadian rhythms. We were taught how to use under-eye concealer to hide our dark circles, not how to figure out why we're so tired in the first place. It's no wonder that 77% of women in a recent study reported feeling confused about what was happening in their bodies during menopause or perimenopause or menopause, with the majority admitting to feeling frustrated by a lack of clear, trustworthy support. So if you've been blaming yourself for not being able to figure out this whole hormone thing on your own, please stop. You're not the problem. The system is. Which leads us to limiting belief number 3. I don't want to waste money on something that won't work. Totally fair. You've probably spent your fair share on supplements, sleep gummies, or that super greens powder that makes you gag, but you still kept taking because some influencer swore it was life-changing. You've tried magnesium, ashwagandha, 3 different kinds of probiotics. You've downloaded free guides, joined challenges, bought the books. And maybe for a minute, it seemed like something was helping until it didn't. So, yeah, you have every reason to be a little wary. Because when you've already invested time, money, and hope into things that didn't move the needle, your guard goes up and stays there. You start thinking, what if this is just one more thing that doesn't work for me? What if I waste more money and still feel like crap? You're not wrong for asking these questions. You're being cautious because you've been burned before. But just because something didn't work doesn't mean nothing will. It might just mean that what you tried wasn't targeted enough, wasn't the right fit for your body, or wasn't addressing the real root of your hormone imbalance. In fact, a recent report by Bonafide Health found that 92% of women in perimenopause and menopause feel frustrated by the trial and error approach they've had to take to manage their symptoms. Sound familiar? What we're offered is rarely personalized, but what we need is something designed just for us. Not another TikTok trend, not another one-size-fits-every hormone fix, not random advice from our friends. We need a plan, one that takes into account our symptoms, our story, our health history, and our lifestyle, so we can finally understand what's going on and what to do about it. Because the real waste is staying stuck. Which leads me to my last limiting belief, number 4, if you're taking notes. I'm too busy right now. Well, of course you are. I mean, you're probably managing a career, a family, a household, and probably at least one group text that just won't die. You're keeping everyone fed, clothed, scheduled, supported, and on time, even when you're falling apart in the process. But here's the part no one says out loud. Being busy is often just code for, I don't know if I can justify the time right now. I'm not sure I can break away without disappointing somebody else. Or what if I make the time and still come up empty? If that's what you're thinking, you are not alone. A recent survey by Healthy Women found that 78%, that's almost all of us, of women in midlife put their health needs behind those of their spouse, children, or work needs. And the longer we do that, the more it feels normal, noble even. But here's the truth. Your time is packed with things you do for everyone else. What if this is the thing you do for you? Not because it's selfish, not because it's indulgent, because it's essential. Because you can't be everything to everyone when you're running on fumes. Balancing our hormones requires new thinking, not just new habits. Because the biggest thing getting in the way is probably not your schedule or your lack of effort or even your budget. It's your thoughts. Thoughts that keep you stuck and hold you back from taking action. So I got to ask, are you feeling a little called out right now? Well, good, because that means you're ready to do something different. And I want to invite you to take the next first step with me and find out what's really going on with your hormones by heading over to bit.ly/take my hormone quiz and take my free hormone symptom profile assessment. This is not some AI-generated BuzzFeed quiz. No shade to AI, but it is a diagnostic tool that was actually developed by 3 functional medicine doctors, and it's helped more than 1,400 podcast listeners get to the bottom of their symptoms and get some real answers. If you're finally ready to stop putting your healing on hold, then go to bit.ly/take my hormone quiz or click the link in today's show notes to take my free assessment. Because when you take care of your hormones, you take care of everything and everyone else better too. Then join me back here next week for a new episode of Are You There, Midlife? It's me, Monica. Until then, sending you out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and fewer hot flashes. Hey, friend. Can I call you friend? Because I already feel like we're friends in my head. Did this podcast teach you something, make you laugh, or feel less like an alien? If so, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could take just 60 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe. That is the #1 way you can thank me and support the show. Until next week, stay cool and keep away from sharp objects.